What's going on? It's Wednesday at noon, which means that golf is at a weird time today because it's way over on the other part of the earth. Yes, there are other countries, even on the other side of the earth. This one's called Japan, and they're 12 hours ahead of us, so we got to get this show in early today because lock is really early, and we're going to be talking about that because that might be the biggest strategy this week, is just factoring in what time lock is tonight and could be the biggest edge. What's up, new guy? My name's James, better known as the Degenerate75. I'm a DFS content creator? Nah, I just play a lot of DFS, and I'm really good at helping you get a little bit better at it by not being a donkey dick and making stupid mistakes. So I'm going to give you everything you need to know to prepare you for the ZOZO Championship, which I believe lock is in like 6 hours. So we're going to get going. I'm going to start with a simple question. New guy, have you made your lineup yet? Nah, there's no new guys here. What do I keep asking? I got to stay informed for whenever January gets here because we're going balls to the wall in 2025 at PGA. You best believe we're going to be the king. Do me a favor. You see right there above my shoulder, we're about to get to 10K subscribers over here at Ship It. Make sure right below this says you are subscribed. Whatever browser you're on, make sure you're subscribed and hit the like for me while you're at it, new guy. All right? Seeing you've already made your lineups, which I don't blame you because we're only 6 hours from lock. All right, here is the contest for this week, right? And, you know, they're not great. It's DraftKings. It's the swing season. You're going to get whatever you want. The big sand trap this week is a third to first. You know how I feel about that. But I'm telling you, right now it just passed over 50% full with only, you can see, 6 hours and 43 minutes left until lock there. If there wasn't anything going on tonight, I would say this is almost certainly going to fill. But you got to remember, right around the exact same lock time, tonight is the first full slate of NBA. And I can assure you that the NBA is going to have more eyeballs on it, more people watching that and entering lineups than the PGA is. And because of that, because of this unique timing, I think that there's a chance that you might be able to catch some things that don't fill or perhaps even overlay. And as always, don't worry about the big contest, but maybe come over here to these 50-50 double-ups, some of these multipliers, some of these satellites, and look, and I bet you'll find a lot of them are not going to fill tonight. Like this $11 King of the Desert here, there's no way that this thing is going to fill. It's only at 571 of 1,700. You're going to get a lot of built-in equity there simply by just entering that. If that's something that you've always wanted to chase, you're going to get a lot of built-in plus EV money because I don't even think it's going to get two-thirds full. So these are things I would have some lineups ready to go. And in that last 5 minutes, I would be searching around these 50-50s and double-ups, especially when they have the little G next to them. That means they're guaranteed. I would be like looking to enter those because if you can get in a double-up where there's 30 empty spots, well, then you don't have to beat 50% of people. You have to beat like 40% of people to double your money. And if you have a lineup ready to go, a lineup you really like, well, then toss that in there, right? Same thing with the multipliers. A lot of people forget about multipliers, but when these things don't fill up, it's plus EV money to get in there when there's an overlay, right? So be looking for all those. And, of course, be watching the big 25. I'm pretty sure the $5 will fill, but, like, the $25, I'm not so sure about that, Bob. I'm not so sure. So be watching for that. Be watching for that, okay? That would be my biggest advice to you. Am I going to get in that $25? It's a simple answer for me. Is there an overlay or is it not filling? Well, then I might get in there. If it's going to fill up, I hate that structure. I'm not going to play it. That is some good strategy to consider. That is a way to get your money in plus EV. That is a way to take advantage of this wonky tee time, seeing it's way over in Japan. And it's one of those things that if you can be by your phone or by your computer, wherever you're at that lock time, it's a big advantage, especially if you're on PGA when everybody else is on NBA. Okay, so that would be my advice to you as far as contest selection go. Not a lot of contests, so there's not a ton that you have to watch over. But I would be eyeballing some that you're ready, okay, or that you're ready to jump in and have those lineups already ready. So you simply just have to enter it. You don't want to say 1 minute to go and you're like, oh shit, these aren't full, and then try to build a lineup in 1 minute. You want to have those lineups ready, and then you just click enter everywhere with that one lineup, two lineups, however many lineups you like. And enter them in a smorgasbord of different contests. All right, that is how you. These are the little things you can do to be a profitable player in the long term, and that's all I'm really here to help you do is help you break even, become a break even player. Until you can build a process good enough where you can become a winning player when you get that big hit eventually, right? That's what DFS is all about. Have some fun with it. Build a process. Grind until you can hit that big one. That's what I'm here to do, okay? Now, guaranteeing winners. Look at all of our mods. Our mods over here, we win. So come join us for $200 a month where we give you picks. Okay, none of that stupid bullshit. All right, hey, new guy. So what's the first thing we always check? Yeah, you're not a new guy. Look at that. Look at that crazy-ass map. Where the fuck are they? Oh, yeah, that's right, Japan. That didn't look like English to me. Okay, I can. They do have some English on there. All right, we're checking weather, but you need to know what the weather this week is. As big as the weather was last week, you're not going to get it this week. It's a no-cut event, that right there usually almost always dampens any type of weather edge we're going to get, because there's not AM PM this week. There's not PM AM. All right, they're not. Furthermore, because it's a 78-person field, they could still put them out there, and just put them off of hole number 1, which you would get at least a 4-hour spread of tee times, but they're not. They're putting them out there off 1 and 10 at the same time. So almost everybody will be out on the course in a 2-hour period. When you see that, man, look at these little tiny streets, man. It looks so fucking busy there. Look at these little tiny streets. Jesus, no wonder why they ride bikes, man. Look at those little streets, man. I couldn't drive a car on there. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, what you want to know is they're going out, and they're all going to be out there off 1 and 10, right? See, the first group's going off 1, second group's going off 10. They're both going out at 6:45. So you're not going to have that. And the latest group, the earliest ones go off at 6:45 local time there, and the latest ones go off at 9. So what is that? A 2-hour and 15-minute window? You're really chasing some pretty thin margins there. What is that? Probably 8 holes when you're playing, 7 or 8 holes when you're playing with those guys between the very first and the very last groups. So I don't see a big wave edge to chase there. You can see the winds do pick up both afternoons with maybe some showers Friday afternoon. If you're going for the thinnest of margins, what I have found is these guys who go out the earliest Thursday, CT Pan, Gracerman, Oga, I don't know how to say his name, Ogaso, Hisatuni, Messier, Hatajai, those groups right there, because then they're also, they're probably going to be the first ones out, get the best of it Thursday morning, but I'm telling you, it's some razor thin margin. You're chasing probably 4 or 5 holes. They turn around and go out in round 2 only about an hour later, so they'll be out there and probably get those storms in the afternoon, as we saw. So maybe that'll soften up the course for them Friday afternoon. So if you want to give a slight bump to Gracerman, Pan, Hisatuni, Messier, Griffin, Victor Martinez, go ahead, Bob, go ahead. All right. And then it seems like every group kind of gets like the token Japanese tour player with them, right? So that's what I'm seeing with the weather. Not a lot, because they're going out in those groups of 3 off 1 and 10. You're not going to catch much of a weather edge. I know the weather edge was fun last week, but it's just not like that every week, Bob. All right. Let's see. Let's get over. We haven't talked about pivots in a while, because we're about to talk about ownership next. And we tracked the ownership this whole year, right? And once again, the only range where it really seemed to pay off was up high, right? Eating the chalk in 2024 was only made sense 9K and up, right? Specifically 10K and up. But down low, eating chalk at the 6, 7, 8K range was just bad. It was bad math. It was a bad play. You've been better pivoting all year. You would have got a lot of dividends from that, right? So I just want you to know that before we go over ownership, that in 2024, it seemed like up high was the place to eat the chalk. Down low was the place to fade it. We'll be, of course, tracking this all again in 2025, but I just want to remind you that the art of ownership is simple. You can't fade every high-owned guy, right? The key is knowing when to pivot and when not to pivot. So let's go over, just remember that as we go over this ownership, right? Let's see. We got our highest-owned guys here, our 10 highest-owned guys. Dumpy Bow in there again. Why are people playing Dumpy Bow? What the fuck? All right. As you can see, we are back to having good players. We got Schauffele, Morikawa, Decky, and no surprise, all the good players, specifically all the good players that have Asian-sounding names, seem to be very popular this week. I don't have the heart to tell people that Kurt Kitayama is not really Japanese. He sounds like that, but he's not. I'm sorry. Sorry to break it to you guys. Make sure to hit that like. Now, 100 people in here, 57 likes. That means we got 43 donkeys. All right, first up, Xander Schauffele, Collin Morikawa. I think they're both actually going to get the 30%. If I know anything, people are going to go with their Care Bear blankets. They're going to go with what's safe. Yes, we have them just below 30, but you know how Steam goes on Wednesday. I think that people are just going to auto-click these guys. There's going to be very few lineups that doesn't start with either Xander or Morikawa, so I think both those guys are going to be wildly popular. So for that, both of these guys, you know what they're going to get. They're going to get
the man's donkey chalk, and we don't play donkey chalk.
Except when they're really good. Except when they're really good. We consider them, okay? Then we consider them. Those two guys are going to be very popular. Donkey chalk for sure. I think they both get over 30%, but they are probably the class of this field, right? The just based on how they're playing their course. Actually, Xander doesn't have that great of a course history here, but he just had the best 2024 ever, so people are going to play him, right? I think these next two I'm going to give them a little bit of a break simply just because of where they're at compared to Xander and Morikawa. They're both, Decky and Em are a little bit high, but you got to remember this is a no-cut event, so people are going to go up high. They're going to spend their money. We know that people are going to spend their money when they're out here. So I think Decky and M, I'm going to give them a little bit of a break. Yes, they're pretty high, but like for a no-cut event, they're not as high as I was thinking they would be. So I'm going to give them a little high. The chalk's a little high on them, but we're gonna be nice guys and we're gonna let them get away with. We're gonna give them chalk. Okay, I don't love it, little high, but not too bad. Now, the difference between Hideki and Sung Jae-im is this: those guys are good players, and those guys have a course history of doing well here. These next two guys, I don't get why they're getting so much ownership. Kurt Kitayama at 9,200, I thought was overpriced, yet is showing up as one of the most popular plays on the slate. And then Justin Thomas, who's been broke for fucking forever. Everybody wants to treat him like he's back or something. What the fuck ever. Justin Thomas, Kurt Kitayama, both in the 9,000s, coming in right at 20%. That's an easy one. First of all, Paulie, tell him.
Get the fuck out of here.
And second of all, these guys are.
The man's donkey chalk, and we don't play donkey chalk.
They're gross. They are gross. Some gross men there. All right, there you go. Those two are donkey chalk. I think Tigala, a little bit on the high side, but I think he's actually going to come in a little bit lower. I think more people are going to drift to these other guys, and Tigala might be the forgotten about one. Just doesn't sound Japanese enough for people to click on, so we will go a little high. Doug Gim, after the really good showing last week, I think is not too. These guys, honestly, 13% in a no-cut event. I'm going to be pretty nice, and I'm just going to give them all. We'll give him a little high, but I think if you like Doug Gim, JJ Spawn, Dumpy Bo for God knows what reason, then you play those guys, right? I don't think 13% gets you off of guys that you have strong convictions about. Surprisingly, after you get out of those top 5 or 6 guys in ownership, it actually starts to flatten off quite a bit, right? There's a lot of guys in that 9 to 13% ownership range, and I don't think that those are guys that you get off if you really like, right? Now, if you're on the fence and you're like, man, I don't know if I want to play Dumpy Bo this week, well, just factor in he's 13%, and that should probably get you off old dumpster bows, right? All right, let's get over to the model. If you're not sure, the model is life, okay, because, modeling is all that matters in PGA DFS. So, look, we've seen this course. This is the 5th time they've played at this course. They are at, what is it called? Nirashino. They're in Shiba, I think, Japan. It's a country, okay, with cities in it. And very tight roads, apparently. And here's what we can tell you. Here's what we're looking at. We have some data. No strokes gained this week, all right? You're not going to have a shot tracker either, which I don't get why you can't go to Japan and, the country that's the king of electronics can't figure out how to fucking work shot tracker. Get the fuck out of here. But we're not going to have it. So because of that, we have no strokes gained data. So we have to look at a lot of generalized data when we look at this tournament. And what we're looking at is off the tee with long, difficult rough. Okay, this is a tight, narrow course. You do need to be playing out of the fairway. So guys who hit the fairway are pretty good. It's pretty important. Good drives. Okay, you're going to need to be able to find greens in regulation. They have 2 greens on almost all these holes. They have a bigger green and a smaller green, so they can really mix up how difficult the course is. They typically play the bigger greens, which is good because hitting out of this long rough to small greens is a bitch. This is a bent grass, fast greens. You need to be hitting it on approach. Generally be good with approach around the green. It's kind of a good little Parkland style course, right? Tight and narrow. You're going to need to find your course. I would say, it's pretty comparable to some Pete Dye type courses. Probably just doesn't play all the games with the angles and stuff, but those type of courses. That would be the one I would compare it to. You get down here and just fucking shocking that number 1 in a model. We made a model and Xander Schauffele is number 1. Fucking shocking. And Colin Morikawa is number 2. Sung Jae is number 3. How on earth we make models and the best players are 1, 2, 3 is just shocking. Fucking shocking, Bob. So here we go. Some things to remember. I think Sahith Theegala, I've already told you, I think he'll be the forgotten about guy up here in these top 6. Right, I think that the model, he doesn't look as good in the model, so maybe that's why. But Minwoo Lee is, I think, the first real big pivot you can make. Doesn't seem like anybody wants to play him. Siwoo, Will Zalatoris are big pivots. I think both of them are going to be right around single-digit ownership. Very interesting plays for pivots. Remember, you don't need to pivot with all 6 spots, but have a spot or 2. Have 2 pivots in your lineup, you're going to be fine, right? Or a pivot and a sleeper, right? Have one guy under 10%, one guy under 5% in your lineup, and you'd be amazed how different that will make your lineup compared to the rest of the field, right? Maverick McNeely, Gracerman, not getting a lot of ownership, probably because they're a little overpriced, I would say. So these two are some nice pivots. Patrick Rogers, Jesus, I don't know why you play him, but if you like fucking losers, him, Putnam, Taylor Moore, all going to be noticeably lower ownership than a guy like Gary Woodland or Ricky Fowler. Both of them are getting ownership. So I'm like, what is this, 2017? What the fuck are we doing here, Bob? Somebody that I've seen get talked up a little bit this week, Harada, Kinsei Harada. I think he might push double-digit ownership. He's kind of like, there's always the one Japanese guy outside of like the big name like Hideki. There's always a local kind of guy. One of these Japanese guys is going to go ham this week, right? And Harada seems to be the one that a lot of people have picked. Be careful with him. I think he could get up to donkey chalk. I think he could be one of those guys that you click and it's like, why the hell is he 10%, right? So just be watching out for that. You get down here, you get a lot of the PGA regulars. I think all these guys are going to be under 5%. So if there's somebody down here you like, I think you play him. I think for me, the guy that if you want me to pick a punt, and I guess I should sing, I'm going to do a sleeper. I think my sleeper is going to be old Ryo Ishikawa, right? He's a real golfer. We've seen him before. Yes, he does not look good in the model, but like you got to remember we only see Ryo when he's playing in like majors, so he's going to not look good. So I think my one sleeper this week, I'll go ahead and give you, because there's always one Japanese guy that does well, so it'd feel weird to not give you a Japanese guy. I think the one I'm going to go with is Ryo Ishikawa. It's 6,200. He allows you to do whatever the fuck you want with the rest of your lineup, and I can't imagine he's going to be above 2% owned, right? Now, just be aware, he could be 8 over come Friday. Don't at me. I gave you Bug Collie last week, and he did good for like a round. Actually, he was in he was in the winning lineup. One dude, Nelson Adcock, who won the main lineup, building a pretty genius little build. I saw what he did. I'm not going to tell you guys though. One with old Collie in there, right? Call me maybe. Who's the one guy I'm definitely not playing this week? Well, this is simple. It's simple as shit. There's. You know what? Let me look over here on my side thing. Let me see what ownership Homa's getting. Is Homa getting ownership? Nah, not enough ownership. I'm just going to stick with this guy still broken until I see otherwise. I'm not playing Justin Thomas. I know he looks good in the model, but like these are generalized stats. These aren't the specific ones, and he really sucked in 2024. I don't think that he's back. I want to see it beforehand. Same thing with Max Homa. I'll play these guys once I know they're back, okay? So one guy I'm not playing, go ahead and tell him, Paulie, Justin Thomas.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's right. Get the fuck out of here, Justin Thomas. Which brings me to the one guy I am playing this week. The one guy I'm playing this week is simply just an ownership play. I think he's a guy that's starting to find his game. I think he's starting to get healthy again. He's a guy that I think is becoming unbroken, unlike Justin Thomas. I think he is a perfect course fit. These are the kind of courses I like him on, where you have to hit fairways and you need to be able to get a lot of greens in regulation, right? Hopefully he figures out that ugly-ass putting form. The one guy I'm playing this week, well, you know what? They might have captured him, but it's time to free this young man. He has a very long neck. It is time to free Willie Z. The one guy we're definitely playing, we're playing Willie Z. Let's go look at him. Big old Willie jumping over the rocks. That's out there in Japan. They have the big rock crowd, and then he's jumping over. And then he's, I don't know. That's me right there. Don't fall on me, Willie. You've put on some weight. All right, there you go. That is the one guy I am playing this week. We have covered weather. We have covered the contest. We have covered ownership. Look at all these winners over at Ship It. Look at all these guys. I'm so proud all these guys are just – there's a lot of guys winning, right? And it's great to see people finding the process of winning. That is what we teach over at Ship It. It is not about our moderators winning. It's about our members winning. It is about teaching people the process, them getting better, grinding it, and oh yeah, not spending all their fucking money on their stupid fucking content. I am seeing all these people doing like $100 for NBA only. You can get our entire access, everything we have, for $85 a month. And there's currently 8 sports going right now. All those sports have the stone. All those sports have ownership. All those have projections. All of those have our sweaty, try-hard guys behind it. Okay, yes, I run 3 of them, but we have guys just as sweaty and try-hard as me running the other 5. Trust me, it's the best out there, and you can do it by like not paying all that money to your content. Okay, put it into your contest, not your content. Come join us. Join us now or wait till PGA in January. We're going to take over, but I'm telling you, you're going to want to be around for PGA in 2025. Whenever the Tournament of Champions rolls around, we take over. Everybody's going to sign up. We're going to have great year-long packages. We'll have the stone. We'll have my projections, which we're tweaking, working on every week. You know we're the sweatiest tryhards out there. And oh yeah, we have the best tool in all of PGA and all of sports called the Stone, which we have for every single sport. Look at this beauty. We do it for week-long, round 1, round 2, round 3 showdown, guys. I'm telling you, nobody works harder to give you a better product at a better price than we do. I'm sick of saying it. I just want you guys to be able to enjoy DFS and play it sustainably. And the best way to do that is not to be giving fucking tout sites $200 a month for their shitty fucking picks. That's the best way to do it. Come somewhere that teaches you how to play, does it affordably, and gives you the tools you need. That's what we do at Ship It. Hey, guys, I appreciate you being here. I got a big trip out with the boys this weekend to Tunica, Mississippi, taking my college football team out. You'll probably see us on Twitter. We will still be doing all the college football work you need to have you ready. Thank you guys for being here. Please remember rule number 1. Do not take these weeks for granted. Enjoy the content. Enjoy the process. Enjoy building your lineups. Enjoy sweating your lineups. Enjoy tilting your lineups. Enjoy the wins or losses, whatever they come. Just enjoy that you get to enjoy golf one more time. Never take it for granted. You never know how many of these weeks you have left. We will see you next time, next week. Enjoy it. Do not forget about the cut. The early lock time tonight. We will see you later. Let's enjoy this outro, you mother fathers.
I'm so high.